Hello, digital educators, and welcome to this 10-minute tech session entitled Getting Organized with Google Drive. Our objectives for this lesson, some pretty quick ones, but some pretty powerful, impactful ones. By the end, you'll be able to state the benefit of Google Drive file stream that you can actually find at that link right there. You're going to find how to change the folder color to draw attention and make finding a folder easier. You're going to set a document order through numbering, and you're going to learn how to create a workspace. And so let's start the clock. 10 minutes now. Go. So the first thing has to do with Google Drive file stream. If you don't have this one downloaded on your PC already, you've got to do it. If you're using a Chromebook, it already kind of does it by default. But if you follow that link there, you're going to arrive at a page that definitely will look like this, and I'll say there might be a problem with it. If there's not a problem, it's because I'm sending you to an exe. That link right there, you'll have to install it, and what it does is your PC file system, your file explorer, it integrates with Google Drive. So never again will you ever have to save a document, upload it off to the cloud, and then worry about whether the version you have on your computer is the same version of what's on the cloud, because it looks like it's right inside your computer. There'll be a folder that's called My Drive. And then once you save it inside that My Drive folder, what it does is it sends it off to the cloud and it syncs constantly. So number one time-saving hack there. Never worry about that again. So the next one that we need to do is to change the folder to draw attention. So I'm going to use a real-life example here today to get organized with our Google Drive and my files that are going on here. So I have some files. I don't like not having things into folders. So I have these files here. They all have to do with our coaches. And so what I want to do is I want to get this organized. Let's clean up my Google Drive here together. So first thing I have for a tip is you got to put everything into folders. That way you know where it all is. So I'm going to create a new folder. And I'm going to use a number in order to put this up towards the top so it's not stuck in all of that workspace, all of the files that are going on inside of my Google Drive and all those folders that are called coaching something. So I'm going to call 0 point coaches. And what this will do is you notice that it will then take and put a folder at the top. By putting numbers, it bumps everything up to the top. And even before numbers are punctuation marks. So if you start with a punctuation mark, it'll bump that up even farther. So if you want to put things in order, this is really great when you have meeting notes, by the way. And if you're not using the date like as a number, even so, 1 January, after that should be 2 February. But if you have 10 for October, that'll come immediately after it. So you should proceed with a number. Does a great job of putting things into a specified order. Now, I selected all of these before, kind of a little bit prematurely. I click onto it, I hold shift, I click again. We want to move it. So we have two ways that we can move this. We can either grab onto these and drag it up, which I don't trust with using a trackpad as much, or we can right click onto this, or if you're on a trackpad, 2-finger click. And we then want to be able to move to. I created our folder that is called 0 coaches. 0 coaches, and I click move, and they're now there. Now this is a folder that I use a lot, let's say. So I want this folder to stand out a little bit because it's important to me, these coaches, because taking care of all of our tech coaches or instructional coaches is a huge part of my job. And what I want to do is draw more attention to that folder. And the way I'm going to do that is, beyond putting the number at the beginning to put it at the top, is to change the color of that folder. So now when I 2-finger click or right click onto this folder, it will bring up our menu. And we then want to click on change color. You'll notice some of the folders are down below. COVID-19, I colored that one green, kind of like sick. And I always have a folder that's called delete me. That's another pro hack. If you have a bunch of files, you don't know if you're going to use them in the long run, you don't know if you need to save them, they're just like temporary files, create a folder called delete me, and every once in a while go through and just completely clear that out if you don't need it. So coaches, I want this to be like a violet color. I click that, I change it, and now if I want to find that folder, all I have to do is look for the violet color. It's pretty quick. As you can see, I've done this with a couple other ones. Ed Law 2D, I believe, is a blue color for me. Let's go back to our objectives. So we've already talked about file stream. We've changed the folder color, and we've also set a document order through numbering. So let's take this example of my coaches and let's extend it a little bit further. I have some information in my coach observation tools, and I have some information that is in my zero coaches. But I don't want to have to go back and forth between the folders, but I don't want them to be in the same folders at the same point. What I can do is called creating a priority workspace. Let's say this coaching service for leaders, which is a philosophy thing. I want to be able to put this into a workspace. So I right click onto it, I click add to workspace, and I'm going to create a new workspace, and we'll call this coaches. I click enter to create, and now it's created a workspace. What exactly is a workspace? A workspace is kind of like a folder, but not. It's the best way to describe it is just a collection of different pieces. But when you create these workspaces, it's a smaller finite folder. Usually people have folders and folders and folders of stuff, and it's hard to look through it. And so this is like putting it all into one spot when you're working on a project, and then you can get rid of that workspace afterwards and you still have your files. So that zero.coaches folder doesn't have any more information that I want, but the coach observations tools, that has some stuff that I want to look at. So then let's say our pre-conference tool, I want that to be added. So again, I right click and I add to workspace. And since I previously created this one, I can now just click on coaches. There it is. Now where do we find this? Up above my drive is priority. When I click on priority, it will then find all of my different workspaces. You see, I've made a couple of them. I had my async PD fall 2020 that I actually truly used, my coaches, and another one called 10 minute. And so this is where it shows up. All of those files I put in there are right there. What this is also great for is when people share things with you, and you can put all of these resources just into one spot, since you can't put them all into one folder. They can be from all bunch of different people. And so that is getting organized with Google Drive in under 10 minutes.